hear me?
Yes.
All righty. It looks like we are all here. Hang on, Shinsky's waiting to get in here. I have Mark Brink here in the office and Aaron Budnick. I think Dave Cashler might be joining us. It looks like we have Gail Giesler, Greg Hunt, Mike Culpepper, Sharon, Rosemary, Richard Darr, and Dave Shinsky. I think we have a quorum and we are ready to rock and roll. Go for it, Mark.
We're going to make a couple of these, our normal items, pretty quick because Justin's going to be on here for quite a little spell. So we're going to, Andy, I'm sorry. We can look at the minutes. Is there anything we need to do to those that anyone sees? Or have you already looked at them and see that nothing needs to be corrected?
Everybody hear Mark?
Yep, I saw nothing that needed to be corrected, Dave Shinsky.
I'll make a motion. This is Ridsdale, that we accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor? Do we want to take a roll call? We don't have to do a roll call, do we?
No.
We're not spending money. All in favor?
Right.
Any nays? Motion carried. Your treasurer's report. Is Rosemary out there?
She is.
Yep.
Rosemary, do you want to just brief us on it?
Sure. Our beginning balance is $99,597.52. $3.38 in interest. We had 3 expenses that cleared the bank, and currently our bank balance is $80,037.18. I also now added a section that is outstanding income and expense. And there is a check that has been written for our final payment to Boyd, but it has yet to clear the bank. But once that does, it'll be $78,723.38. Any questions?
Nope.
How about a motion out there?
Motion to accept. Culpepper.
Second, Doug.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I know it was Don.
Who was the second?
Greg Hunt.
Oh, wait, got you.
Okay, is Andy ready or we got time?
You got time.
All right, we had Rosemary has applied for a Face Forward funding. Kind of premature, but I guess she has a reason for it. Rosemary, you want to just explain that, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. I'm requesting a consideration for an off-cycle proposal for Face Forward funding. My intent was to do this in the spring. However, with some roof problems and insurance problems based on roof problems, I've had to decide to replace the roof on Rose Villa, and also in doing the roof replacement, I also have to remove and replace the stairwell and the decking platform, the stairwell, walkway, and decking platform that's on the second story of the back of Rose Villa. And so I'm asking for consideration, not the roofing piece, that's mine, but I'm asking for consideration for Face Forward for the decking, the stairwell and deck platform piece.
Could someone explain real briefly, what is face forward?
Actually, it's put in place for a business or a homeowner to come and apply for help on any project they're doing on their home or business to, it's basically supposed to improve the look of the home or the business in our district. Meaning if you were to put windows, paint, new siding, things of that nature, it has to be exterior and it has to improve the look of the building or home.
And is this
And
a Laingsburg program only, or is this supported by a statewide program?
it's a DDA only.
DDA, so it's endorsed by the Michigan.
Laingsburg DDA, no one else.
Well,
Okay,
I'm not,
Laingsburg
no, you can't say that no one else does this. So the point is that years ago, I mean, I don't know how many years ago, but we've been doing this program for a long time, Sharon. And we actually have an application and people can apply and we budget for it. So when we do our budget, we budget to fund these projects.
Yep. That's-
And normally we open the application period February.
February.
It has to be in by the end of March.
Yeah, so we let people know that, you know, we have this, you know, but we have in the past, we have probably approved some that were not during that time period for, you know, various reasons. And the program really is to help people, you know, improve their buildings and make downtown look good and prosper. So if you guys don't have that information, we can get you what our project or our program looks like. So
That's enough. That's enough.
The only thing I was saying, Sharon, on that was it was created by we, the DDA created that. If other people are doing it, it's fine. But there's no one tied in like the state or anybody else that gives us any money.
Okay, that's what, and then just, I apologize if this is redundant, if you already explained it, but what was the proposal for this building?
Rosemary?
Proposal is to help to cover the replacement of the stairwell, the walkway that's across the roof, and
There we go.
the platform that will be at the back door of the upstairs of the building.
Okay, I see it there. Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I did have it in my files too. I can open it on my end.
We pay, usually the person has to get the work done, pay for it, and then we reimburse them. And we give up to 70, I believe it's 70% or up to $5,000 is the max. So if they're doing a project, let's just say, and it costs $15,000, the maximum amount that the DDA will donate to that is $5,000. If it's, let's say it's $3,500, we could pay as much as all of it or up to 75% of it.
So, and I'm not trying to say that I would vote against this, but I'm just curious on whether this work would actually improve the face of the building, and is that a requirement? It sounds like some of the work might be in the back, and is that okay? I'm asking the question, is it okay that some of the work is in the back of the building and not really on the face or the facade?
That stuff has been brought up before, and it is supposed to face either the street or alley or be seen somewhere on the property that you could drive by and see that there was an improvement. Roofs were discussed about that also, because roofs were a maintenance issue, and they are also, although they can make a building look better, you know, like facing the street, you put a new roof on and it looks considerably better. But the back of the roof, let's say, you can't really see it. So that has been discussed before in previous applications. And a flat roof is basically non-visible from any direction other than in the air. So she's taking care of the roof, it sounds like, herself. That would be my
Yes,
own
I am.
question.
And know that
Also,
this decking is it is really rotting, and I have replaced and repaired it over and over, but now it's at the point where parts of it are just broken. It looks terrible back there, and I have to, in order to do it right, I have to remove that deck, get the roof cleared, re-roof, and then replace the decking.
So my
Is there only
question,
one
Rosemary,
estimate
is
for this?
is this deck visible from the street? Is
It
it?
is from Roosevelt Row.
Okay, just asking the question, just to, you know, is roughly what percent of the deck is visible? All of it?
All of it from
Okay.
Roosevelt Row.
Okay, thank you.
Would that be
Is there
visible
more
as
than
well?
one estimate? Hey, Mark,
pardon?
is there, Steve, is there more than one estimate or just the one estimate for the deck? I couldn't see it on the thing.
I have one in there. I'm getting two more.
Okay. Yeah, I just couldn't see the whole package there, so thank you.
And they have to be in the DDA area too.
It has to be in our district, and it does not have to be only a business. It can be a homeowner. It doesn't matter, but they have to be in our district. So that means that they've paid taxes to us, and then we, in a roundabout way, are maybe giving some of that tax money back. But you guys, this is kind of we have done, like Paula said, we have done ones before, before applications were normally applied, and we've actually done ones that were after because they didn't get them in maybe on time or didn't know anything about it and then came to us. So we've done them kind of both ways, and it's not a closed, I guess. I mean, those are kind of the application parameters, but we've bent those some in the past also. So
So
it's not
guys,
kind of unusual.
so this is Sharon. So I just did a quick Google Earth and looked at it. And so it is kind of set back from Roosevelt Row a bit, but you can really see it. And I'm really a big believer in, you know, the back sides of our Main Street downtown buildings. I think the back sides, you know, are almost as important as the front, really. So even though I was asking the questions as I look at this, I realize that this back area is kind of a green area, and that deck and stairway is really quite prominent. And, you know, I'm really a believer that making the backs of the buildings, you know, look nice and not just the front is important. So I'm not against it.
If I understand, Rosemary, this is Mike speaking. What you're doing is just applying for early application loan for the deck that you would have applied for next spring. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, and it's because of the condition and the elements of where you're at is why you applied early.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, now my question only comes into you as our treasurer and also to the DDA president is we budget this money, but does the spring money budget and fall before July, or does it actually come out afterwards for that year?
Are you saying that whatever we already put in the budget is in for the following year?
Okay, so
it would fiscal year to July. we actually can pay those bills through November because they don't have to have it done until the end of November the following year.
Exactly. I just wanted to know how it fit into our budget for if it was November that it was paid as example, or if it was paid in February. Myself, I make a motion to approve it and let her move forward with it and get it done because we have green space back there as it's been brought to our attention. It's been talked about different parking lots and space back there. So I think it's going to be very prominent in time that it's going to be so obvious if it isn't fixed, it is going to be the biggest eyesore we got.
And this is Sharon. I would also say that if you're up on that hill by the post office, you can actually get kind of a line of sight of this deck. So those stairs kind of going up, when you're up there at the post office, you have, it is definitely a visible, I think it meets the requirements of being a visible, it would be a visible improvement. And again, I think that green space behind those buildings, it's just going to really make that whole area, that green space, nice. So with that comment, I'd like to second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second now. Is there anybody else got any other comments on this?
Just we should get those other estimates just to make sure we have them for our records, so we have more than one. That's all I had.
Will.
Good point.
It seems to be a struggle right now.
Yeah.
But I have, we're meeting one other person tomorrow, and another person has promised to give me a quote. So I've been working on it for about a month and a half trying to get the quotes, but I'll get there.
Okay,
Yeah,
when
I
you
don't
get
think
that,
that's
if you
a
could
topic
at
moving
least get them
forward.
to us.
Can we make
Rosemary,
it contingent upon having at least 2 bids? So we know that we've got the right price point.
could you say that again, Sharon?
Could we make the approval contingent upon having at least 2 bids in our file?
That would be fine.
I'd be willing to make that motion with that, contingency.
I would second that with that contingency.
Okay, Rosemary, we're going to ask that you abstain from voting.
Of course.
Okay, and then we'll take a roll call vote.
Shinsky,
Yes.
Oops. Woods,
Yes,
Dar,
I think you said Dar, yeah. You sound far away.
I'm sorry. Hunt,
Yes,
Culpepper,
Yes.
Brent,
Yes, if I need to vote.
he says he doesn't vote, but I called on him anyway.
A no is a yes. Yes is a no.
I think that Andy is on.
I have one quick question before we move on. We applied for a facade grant in March, and we ordered the windows, but because of the COVID thing, they're actually delivering the windows hopefully the next week. We have until November 30th, right, to put those in. Is there any way, if we do have a problem, that we could have more time, I guess, to put them in?
Yeah, well, in this circumstance, I ordered windows. It took 4 months to get them. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's out of your control. So, all you got to do is come back to us and say, this is the reason why.
Okay.
And I'll get them done as ASAP. And then, you're going to pay the bill first anyway, and then come to us and get the check. So.
Okay.
it took me 6 months to get a wood floor installed in my basement.
Yeah.
That was in the first 2 months of COVID. It was
Welcome
awful.
to our new world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is Andy, are you out there somewhere?
Yep, I am here. And I feel
Okay.
your pain about getting wood floors in your home after 6 months. It's troubling times, huh? Are you
Well,
ready for me, or do you need a few more minutes?
No pun intended, but the floor is yours.
Well, that's a perfect fit. No, no pun intended. So I appreciate, I got on the right time here, and this is a live recording. So Paula, thank you for setting this up. I guess I do have the record option, Paula, on my end. So
Oh, good.
I am going to record this meeting on my end because it'll help me retain the conversation. If we were in person, it would be, quite a bit different, but due to the circumstances, oh, I guess the host has to give me permission to record. So we're not going to get weighted down with that, Paula. We'll just proceed. And then if you could send me the link to your meeting when we're done, I would appreciate it. But oh, there, you've given me permissions. Perfect.
There you go.
Look at that.
I'm magical.
Right. Everybody's become tech savvy during all of this. We were using Zoom about 8 years ago, or no, I should say 6 years ago. And we've actually been training a lot of local governments on how to use it during all of this pandemic. But looks like you folks have mastered it pretty quickly. I'm going to share my screen here.
I'm an overachiever, Andy.
Yeah, you're doing well, right? I do have a little 3-year-old at home. I might have to break and address that during these strange times, but that hopefully won't be an issue. But so I have a few questions. It's a 1-year follow-up from when we did the FIT program, right? When we shared the results in your community. And let me see here. Let me fiddle around here with something quick. Can you all see my screen being shared?
Yep.
You can all see that document. Okay. All right. So it's been a year. It's been a bizarre year, right? There's probably been some roadblocks to some of your activities, and or maybe not. Maybe your Laingsburg has progressed to a level that through this pandemic. But the purpose of the meeting here, I guess we have until 8, but we'll probably go no more than an hour, is just to capture what has changed in Laingsburg as preferably as a result of doing the FIT program. But I like to tell communities, we can't take all credit, of course, for everything that happens in your community as a result of FIT. There's no doubt many of the programs that you're doing now were probably already in the pipeline before we came along, and then I like to think that the FIT program has probably uncovered quite a few things that either are in the pipeline for the future or you're already working on. But so I just have a series of questions to kind of go down the list here, and a lot of these questions carry over into each other. Some of them will probably skip over just because the answers and the discussions that we have will probably come out in discussion. And the floor really is open. Paula was the lead on your community for this, and along with your DDA group here. And the intent here is just for us at the end of the year to really get a sense of what the program has done in Laingsburg, share anything that you would like to know what other communities have done. Every community that's done FIT in the last 3 years is just doing a tremendous amount of community development, ways to attract residents, visitors, retain businesses. So I'll just start with question 1. And, what has changed in your community as a result of participating in the FIT program?
I'll say that we had.
Maybe I should just go.
I'll go.
Yeah, fire away.
One of the great things and it really was helpful with the COVID, but it was like you guys told us this before the code came up, was the outdoor seating at our restaurants. It's kind of funny how fitting it was for us to have this year. And it was one of the things that was in the FIT assessment. Also, there was planters that Paula helped with getting the Girl Scouts to do around the outside seating. That was wonderful. I know that I did feel like that there was a lot of interest in collecting pictures and stuff like that for this historical sign that they're working on. But I also know on Facebook, there was actually a Facebook page where people were sharing a lot of history of Laingsburg.
Mhm.
And I'm not exactly sure what time that started, but it was after this fit assessment. And it was fun to see all the things that have happened to Laingsburg, I felt like. That's all I have written down for that particular question. But I do feel like the amphitheater was in the works, but obviously that beautiful amphitheater that's up there has came. So we can see it now, which is great since the fit assessment. That's
So
going to be wonderful for our town.
yeah, we were glad to see that actually. We didn't know that was happening, right? So it was one of our suggestions, and then we ended up validating that according to Paula. But just for clarification, Gail, did Laingsburg implement some zoning ordinances to allow outdoor seating?
That's all
This-
Paula. Yeah, Paula did. They did. I don't know if she should be talking, but I know I ate down there for a few times. It's nice having the seating out in there. And there was barricades. Where it was placed was in the in the front of the buildings, in several buildings. So I do think the town. We actually had some music there in the street next to it too.
So I haven't been back, so I'm not quite sure
On you, Andy.
cosmetically if anything's changed. But was that Paula? Could you elaborate a little bit on the outdoor seating? It sounds like there's some.
Well, there was a grant opportunity for the I-69 corridor. They had a $2,000 grant. And then so we got 2,000 from that. The city provided 2,000 and the DDA provided 2,000. And then we got 30 tables? No, 15 tables and 60 chairs with matching umbrellas and stands. And we did, I think we did 7 or 8 planters because that's all they had. They ran out of them. And then we had the Girl Scouts plant them. They looked really nice. At the time, we did not have it in our zoning ordinance to allow for our outdoor seating. But the city council, due to COVID, decided to go ahead and just allow that to happen. We did it in our parking spaces and on the sidewalks.
Nice.
And then we went back and we did implement a zoning ordinance so that next year there will be some rules to follow and that kind of thing. But for the most part, the businesses just loved it. The community loved it. We had other communities contact us wanting to know how we did it. And
Right.
it was just, it really was probably for a small dollar investment. It was a huge, important change.
So do you think that you would have, this COVID-19 is such a strange context, right? So do you think that you would have done that had we not entered this pandemic?
I don't know because what happened was it really wasn't necessarily the pandemic that kicked in because I had seen that application for the grant before the pandemic got bad.
Okay.
So I had really started to apply for those tables and chairs just before everything went crazy. So really, I don't think the pandemic started the conversation. But I think that it definitely enhanced the conversation.
Sure.
But it was talked about at the fit assessment. It was.
Right. Oh, for sure.
It
Yeah.
really was.
And so that's when, when I wrote that grant, I'm like, well, why don't we do this with that, and that worked out. And then at the same time, it just kind of all happened at the same time. I mean,
Yeah.
it was kind of coincidental, actually.
Yeah.
Even where we purchased them.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, it just all kind of came together. And I mean, we didn't learn that we were awarded it until June, and we applied for it in February or March.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
So it was kind of the timing seems like it was COVID, but COVID just kind of really helped push along the idea, I think.
Sure. Yeah. Funny how it works like that. That's a positive that's come out of this, right? So far. That's good to hear. You answered my question. If it was in the pipeline before the pandemic, then That's good. Yeah, we saw a lot of potential for that. That seemed to, from what I recall, your sidewalks were quite wide, and the 3 or 4 or maybe even more restaurants that were downtown, we felt really could capitalize on that space. And such an interesting little downtown with the rolling hill as you go down. And
Yeah, when we put them up at the top of the hill, we went down to the bottom of the hill, and by the time we came back up, there were people sitting at them.
yeah, amazing, right? Right. You provide it, and
And the bars just loved it. You know, we only have one bar right now, but I mean, we set them out on the sidewalk and into the parking space because we had to, you know, delineate the area for the liquor control people and that stuff. And so it worked out great down there.
It changes the whole feel when you drive into town.
Yeah, it does. You
Like
drive
now you
in.
see your friends or whatever out there, and it brings the community.
No, I
Puts it
agree
up.
with that comment that it does change the feel when you pull in and you see people sitting outside enjoying themselves. It's just, it really is nice.
Does he know that they have a band down there on Wednesday night also?
I think Gail mentioned it,
Okay.
but yeah, we did have music with that at the farmers market night, and people loved it. And I think they're planning to continue doing that next year, one night a week, playing the music down there at the bars. So
that's good. What else? Is anything else changed? That's a significant, just doing that. It sounds like not only do people want to stop if they see their friends there, but businesses were able to reap the benefits, right? And perhaps pay their bills and during a time maybe when they wouldn't have been able to because of this strange, unprecedented.
yeah, I mean, people were sitting at them at all of the places we put them. So I think even if we added more, that it would just, you know, even if nobody's sitting there, just the little red umbrellas pop and make people look and want to stop.
Sure.
So
anything else? I mean, I have a whole slew of questions, so we can, but anything come to mind? What else may have changed as a result of participating in FIT? Comes to mind? Your turnout, you had the largest group to date, which I think we reached over 100, I believe. So that was pretty impressive. I'll move on to the next question. I realize majority of the folks on the call today are from the DDA, but have any new collaborations spawned from being a FIT community, we like to call? Like, if has the DDA started working with any other organizations or anything of that sort?
Not directly, not directly or even indirectly yet. No.
Okay. Any new leadership roles or opportunities taken by the community or business or any individuals? Anybody come out from that night? You know, the 100 people we had there, did anybody sort of reach out to you folks and want to get involved in anything or find a way to help or take on a program or project of any sort?
well, we got Sharon Woods out of the deal. Because now Sharon is on our DDA, and the first time I ever met her was at the FIT assessment. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So Sharon, that evening made you want to get involved a little bit. Is that right? It sort of raised your awareness of.
Well, actually, I was interested in joining the DDA before that meeting, and I went to the DDA meeting to track down Paula and let her know that I was interested. But it definitely reinforced my interest, and what reinforced it was the turnout. I mean, the fact that we had so many stakeholders who were genuinely interested. Like you observed, that's kind of rare. I mean, I work for a lot of communities, and to get that kind of turnout in a community of this size is just really impressive. So that told me that, you know, my time would be well used. So, and I enjoyed the FIT assessment, of course. So that was good as well. So thanks for that.
Sure. Yeah, I should say, I often hear from communities that, like yours, that do the FIT program. You were the 14th community majority of them have come back that night after we share the results and have told me directly to my face that we haven't seen this many people come out for a public event in over, I've heard a decade. Communities deeper into the thumb, up 53, Elkton, Marlette, in other parts of the state where we've done this, that, we've seen 50, 60, 80 people, and in your case, 100 people come out, and almost every community has come out and said, we just don't ever see this kind of public participation. So that's what, when I'm told that, like you've just said, Sharon, and like I learned a year ago and saw myself, it makes me feel like program has got a lot of credibility behind it, or it's valid. But any improvements to like the physical environment of your community, or recreation or beautification? I heard something about flower pots, I think, and then zoning ordinances around outdoor seating. Any updates to digital websites or anything in particular?
We have done some improvements with the social media. We have put some postings on Facebook that we weren't doing before. And we have started using our website a little bit more for some, we put a visitor page on our website.
Nice.
And well, we
We
kind
also
of
have
put like businesses on there, and what was that? We did that little QRL code so they could look up something, and so we have worked on some of those things for sure.
Nice.
We have Bob Ford is creating a new history sign for us, which will take us out to our bicentennial. So that's kind of cool. We put a lot of work into that.
Great. I can't remember exactly what the websites looked like for Laingsburg. It's done. Nowadays, we've done so many of these, I get confused. Each community is, but taking that step is huge. You've done an awesome job in the downtown capturing the history, and I think it's pretty much captured on your websites. But having that list of, did you say you have a list of things to do for visitors, Paula? Is that right?
I'm going to try to share my screen and see if I can show you.
Sure.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
So this is what we put out there. I don't know how I got there, but I just lost it. Here we go. So we got this new visitors tab.
Sure.
And then events, businesses, recreation.
Great.
And I hate to even click on events because I can't tell you what we put there. Stuff has been canceled.
Yeah, sure. But you have it though. That's good.
But we did, this is one of the things that we did work on.
Could I see the recreation tab, if you don't mind?
And then so the recreation tab, we got Bait Scout Park, McClintock, canoeing and kayaking on the Looking Glass River, disc golf, history in the streets. So yeah, I mean, I guess to say we haven't done anything would be a lie. We did, this kind of something new that came out of the fit.
Yeah, this is what we want to hear. This is what we want to know. This is important stuff. Yeah,
so this right here, we've listed the stores, and then you can link to their websites from there. So
And in coordination with this, we did the little ad for the visitor centers to drive people to the community, and it matches this. It coordinates with the website.
Great.
Yep. So we put an ad that goes to all of the rest areas in Michigan, and it coordinates like what she was just saying with this. So, and we put the QRL thing on there so they can use their phones. And we also put that in the Sleepy Hollow ad. So now all that goes out to the campers as well. So things to do around town. We got, the library, we've also added some of those things. So.
Excellent.
Hopefully, I mean, I think this was definitely, a direct link from a suggestion from you guys for sure. That, we realized we had something missing on our website that, for visitors. And so.
Sure. new residents, visitors can potentially be new residents. And
But this part, and we also kind of changed it up so it looks a little different than the rest of it. So we changed up the characters a little bit, and so it looks even a little bit differently. So
it's great. Thanks for showing me that. That's important, and very helpful to see that. It's the webs, especially with a pandemic, the website is your newspaper. That's front and center. I mean, it couldn't be any more important now, having your digital website, yours and everybody else's, updated and present and active and lively, because nobody's going to go anywhere nowadays, certainly in the middle of all of this, without searching a website first and potentially seeing what's open or what they can do there or can't do. And so that's kind of the one thing we're learning, or we're advocating for when communities are doing this, is always, front and center. The first thing people are going to notice is the website. Certainly, unless
kind
they.
of funny, I forgot we even did that, but it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. Yeah, it's a bigger deal than I think. It would be great if it was somehow we could all track it. I mean, you can certainly see the number of hits, but if there was a silver bullet down in the future somehow that communities could track just how important their website is. But yeah, that's the purpose of this meeting 1 year later, and me to throw out these questions like I am right now, because believe it or not, just about every community tends to forget actually what they've done as a result of doing this program, or indirectly from participating in the program. So excellent. So that kind of covers recreation. You're highlighting your recreation assets. I think I even saw a couple on that list that I think I didn't even know was there. Beautification, your digital presence, your updated websites. Infrastructure, you had redone some zoning ordinances to make outdoor seating. So these are huge steps, stuff that may have been in the pipeline, like I said, but may have been at the back burner, as seen as not important. But as we've seen in other communities, the program, we uncover a lot of assets, in particular, like over on my side of the state. We've seen some communities that have had projects in the pipeline for 10, 20 years. They've just been on the back burner, and we've gone in as a first-time visitor without knowing anything about those projects. And as an outside visitor, we've suggested you do A, B, and C. And all of a sudden, those projects that are on the back burner 10 years ago have been moved to the front of the line. So we've seen that in multiple locations around the state. It just ends up validating sort of the direction.
You want me to show you the ad that we did?
Sure, please. Absolutely.
And that was a collaborative effort. The DDA and my staff worked together on it. Sharon and Rosemary helped a lot with it.
Great. And it's to advertise for your community? What's the goal of it?
There's two things that we participate in like paper advertising, you might say. But so when you go to Sleepy Hollow and you get a campsite, they hand you the map of your campsite, and in there's a bunch of advertisements. And so we had an ad in there for years, but we hadn't changed it. So this was a new ad that we developed this year, kind of came out of the fit assessment, that we wanted to change that up a little bit. And so this is the ad that goes in there. So, that 300,000 visitors at Sleepy Hollow, they get this ad.
Mm-hmm.
And then in addition to that, we do it in the Shiawassee County Visitors Guide, which is put up in the all of the rest areas. Get that.
I'm scanning your QR code right now. That's awesome.
Works.
It does work. If you're looking to find out, it's great. And the good thing about it is it's not complicated. It goes right to that visitors, events, businesses, and recreation, which makes it easy for people to then go to an event, a business, or recreation, right? A lot of websites you end up getting routed to are complicated messes, and fine print. So kudos to you and your website designer for making it very easily accessible. Good job. That looks great. See, a lot of stuff going on. I knew there would be. I knew. So, we're kind of nearing some of the end of the questions. Anybody else have anything to share in particular, or realizing you're all DDA folks? Was there any chamber? Do you have a chamber of commerce there?
We are it.
So you're the DDA, the chamber, and
We're
the
just
whole.
everything. Yeah.
Okay. So well, that's
We
good.
have a Laingsburg Business and Community Association. But I mean, I wouldn't really call them the chamber because they don't have like full-time people. They don't have people that, somebody can just call, and we probably get most of those calls at the city, but we do have the Laingsburg and Business Community Association.
So part of our assessment includes visiting a number of private businesses as well as public assets, right? So we were in several parks and a couple of the restaurants downtown, and then perhaps, I think, a couple businesses on the peripheral as you come into town. I can't recall exactly, but were any of the results of those private businesses shared with those businesses?
I think I had a couple people ask for them, but not a lot. I did have everything you gave me, and if people asked for it, I would share it with them.
Yeah. Okay.
I do think the farmer's market person looked at it, I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember who all asked for it, but it was just a couple.
Sure. What about the public parks assets or any of that stuff that we experienced? Was that shared with I don't know if you have a parks department or?
Yep, I shared it with the parks guy sitting right here.
Okay.
Street, parks, sewer.
Okay. Well, so what was your response to some of those? I don't have anything in particular that stands out, but what was your response to that? Was that helpful, or was it any woven into any 5-year recreation plans or anything of that sort, or is it just?
Go ahead, Dave.
It really wasn't. I mean, a lot of what was in there was stuff we was already working on, so.
Okay.
Continued on with what we were doing.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, we did end up using a Laingsburg, although it's not spelled out as Laingsburg, but in our promotional video. I don't know if Paula ever shared that with you. I have it. I can bring it up and share my screen and can show you our 2 or 3 minute promotional video, which includes shots of Laingsburg, but it also includes shots of Cass City and interviews with Cass City as well as Laingsburg. It's used nationally now to describe how our program functions. Are you interested in seeing that?
Yes.
Has anybody seen it? I know Paula has, I'm sure, but
I feel like I showed it to these guys, but maybe not. I mean, I don't know.
I'll show it. We got
We'll
time.
see if it's a rerun.
Right. Give me a second here.
Pat herself on the back.
Give me a quick second here. I'll find it.
She dropped the ball.
She dropped the ball.
No, you guys wouldn't have paid attention even if I did.
I was gonna say, did you send it to me?
I probably did. I probably sent it specifically to Mark Brink.
Probably.
Second here. All right. Let me.
So.
All right. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you see that little video right there?
Yep, I can.
Okay. Let me,
Guys, wanna come over here and see the video? I'm trying to.
yeah. Let me know when you're. I didn't realize you had a room full of people as well.
Well, we don't have a room fill. We can't say that.
Okay. You ready? Hit play, or do you need another minute?
Well, I'm trying to find it. All I see is you right now. So.
Oh, I'm sharing my screen. Can people see that or not?
I can see it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you might need to minimize me, Paul. I'm not sure why you wouldn't be seeing it, but can you see it or not?
No, I see.
See the sunset.
I see like. All right, here we go. Let me get out of.
Let me share it again. I just stopped sharing. Let me try it again. The other folks can see it.
It's probably just behind here and I'm trying to figure out how to move you. Mhm. I don't know, last time I was able to see it when you, oh, let me try this.
Oh, that was good.
What'd I do?
Cut the screen completely on me anyway. It's just all gray and black.
How'd I do that?
Mine stayed up.
Well, I'm still sharing. Gail, can you see my screen still?
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At the top of the speakers, there's little tabs that I think, is that where she changes?
All right, I got it.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Everybody can see it?
Nope.
Oh, geez.
Well, don't make, I can see you now. I finally got the screen back. It just disappeared. I had a blank screen.
How about now? Everybody can see it?
Yeah.
Paula?
Yes.
Yes.
Go.
What, how that happened? That's weird. Actually, it's from around Laingsburg though.
That's Lee Farm. There's our famous clock.
And our Christmas decorations with our fall leaves. Gonna see me in a minute. Back in the library.
Oh, that's definitely our trees.
There's me.
There she is.
I made the video. It probably is my bad knee.
Before surgery. The trail was on angle.
That's not us. There's my Jeep. Oh,
Look the wrong color.
yeah.
Sorry.
Was that the bikers on Woodhall? Or Woodbury?
There's Laingsburg.
Mm-hmm. That's us. That's us.
Not the lead.
That be our park.
There's a lot of us in there. That's Pete's building inside.
See, Paula, I need to leave at 7 p.m. Is there anything unfinished business or anything else that you would need a quorum on?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'll leave in a few minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's our fit assessment night. Mm-hmm. There's Mark. Hmm? Oh, I thought it was Cass City. Is it the village of Cass City?
I don't know. It's a village manager.
Look at Pete even made the video. Hmm?
There it is.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. We had to insert some stock footage into there to show some different seasons and different parts of the state if we could. But yeah, that's the objective. So yeah, your communities, if you're from Laingsburg and an active member in the Laingsburg community, you would recognize quite a bit of that, right? So that's good. The only other question I have, sometimes these conversations go on for a long time, and sometimes they're a little bit shorter. But the only other question I had is, hey, Kitty. Well, I guess I have two more questions. Paula, we provided you with kind of a fit next steps manual that could be used for strategic planning or discussions or to delegate responsibilities or timelines. Did you use that? Was that of use? It's no shame if you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, we did use it. We've used it with some of our planning, just kind of, we've reviewed it a couple of times. But honestly, with the crazy year we've had, it's probably time to open it back up.
Oh yeah, well, some communities use it. Some don't. That's good that you have. Some communities forgot that I even gave it to them, but yeah, it's just kind of a couple examples of sheets to kind of track grants, or we'll do this in 3 months, or this in 6 months, or timelines and who's going to do what. And a lot of communities, get overwhelmed with the limited capacity they have to do stuff. So we thought we'd create a manual of ways to keep things organized. But the only other question I have, if there's nothing more to share, is how do you think the program could be improved?
They're thinking.
Yeah, take your time.
I mean, for me, the only thing is like, I just really, without having gone to the other assessment, I was kind of like, I couldn't figure out exactly what we were going to end up needing to do. And so when I went to the other assessment, that was very helpful for me. So maybe for like the leadership team to see what someone else's, assessment looked like, or to talk about what the, I mean, when we first started this journey, I didn't have a vision for what it meant, or even how to explain to people what we were trying to do. And now it makes sense what we did and what we're trying to do. But at the time, I'm like, well, I don't really know. I mean, I think I need this thing, but I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it or what I have to tell people.
So you, and again, we're really looking to hear from a lot of people on the call tonight. So I strongly encourage, if I could, to hear from others. But so are you saying, Paula, that the idea of capturing an outside visitor perspective probably wasn't anything you personally, or maybe even the DDA, had thought about before?
No, I don't think we had. I don't think that anybody that was on the radar. And when I brought it up, they're like, "What? What are you gonna do?"
I think, just in my opinion, the DDA is probably pretty closed-minded to just their district. Okay, meaning, what can we do just in this little dinky district, and don't. The worst case scenario usually is always where you grow up, is you can't see what is either changed or not changed. I guess, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
I'll use this as kind of a stupid analogy, but putting on weight. You don't know you're putting on weight because you do it over a long period of time. You don't know what your community really looks like if you live there over a long period of time. But when you go to another community and look at it, you get this impression just by driving into a, let's say, a different community.
Sure.
But you drive the same direction every day, you see the same sign. It's almost like you don't even stop at the stop sign anymore because you know it's there and you just drove it and it becomes part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So when you can have someone else come in literally from an outside perspective and take a look, it's so much more eye-opening for others who are in that location all the time. I'm usually always telling everybody on the board, look for another project, drive a different direction behind the building, take a look, you know, but it's always still in our district because that's all we can do. But at least take another look at something that you don't look at all the time. Get out of your car and walk up to the post office a different direction, just
Right.
because you will see something that maybe we can improve or pops into your mind because you're looking at it from a different perspective.
And Marco, I think that's a lot true. There are a lot of people that have left Laingsburg over the years, and in my time frame here, I've had lots of people stop me and say, I can't believe how much Laingsburg's changed. Once you leave it and come back, you notice all the change, and all those changes have been in the last 10 years. So like you're saying, if you're not around it all the time, if you're here every day, you look at the historical buildings and you go, wow, those were done a few years ago. They're beautiful, but you don't notice them on an everyday basis of all the technicalities that are in there. And the same way with sidewalks, you don't walk around and look at the sidewalks and the imprints and the bricks and stuff. Well, strangers and visitors do.
Absolutely.
And that's what I've noticed. A lot of people have commented to me is, man, Laingsburg's changed so much, I don't even recognize it.
I'd like to say too that I don't think any of us probably would have taken the time to think about what has happened 1 year and with this whole COVID and what we've actually done in this year. I think it's kind of amazing. And I don't think I would have actually even thought of it if I hadn't sat down and looked at this. But I want to follow up with what Paula said. I think when this assessment opportunity was projected or presented to us, it was kind of hard to get a grasp of what it was going to be like she said, until she went to someplace else. So I guess my only suggestion is maybe you could, instead of having to have someone go to another one, somehow capture it a little bit better in a smaller, like not in a huge form, but in a smaller form, like maybe what a city has done after their assessment or something like that. Highlight a community. It could be a fictitious community, I guess, but I would think you'd want to pick a community that you've done. And I think maybe I would have had a better understanding. I mean, when Paula presents stuff, we always think it's a good idea because, I mean, anything we can do for our town, I think is a great idea. But I think I wasn't quite sure where it was going at first.
So two questions. Good dialogue here. This is helpful. Yeah, Paula is the first person to come out to another community to see their forum. And I'm super glad she did. We've encouraged it multiple times for communities. And in fact, we had the city of Eau Gray came to your forum. City of Eau Gray was supposed to be done this summer, but we had to postpone it because of the pandemic. And so that is for sure something that we would like to see every community do. In fact, we had a community from Roscommon came down and sat in on Cass City's forum, but they felt for some reason that the program wasn't for them, and that's fine. That is the purpose. So the 4-minute video that you just saw, that is one, to take pressure off me trying to explain what we do, but it's at the end of the day, I still have to have meetings like this with communities before we start the process, the fit process. So that 4-minute video is designed to explain exactly the process of what will happen. So just as an example, had you seen a 4-minute video like that before we started fit, do you think that would have helped understand?
I didn't have the video with sound up good enough to hear it.
Oh,
so
okay.
So probably, I'm guessing, but
Yeah.
that's what I was kind of thinking is having a town, you telling them what their top things that they should do and then showing that being done. And something
Mhm.
along that line was what I was thinking. And it looks like that you were showing different things that you had suggested for people. And I think that would have been at least helpful. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think she got an email.
Would be
that she
neat to
presented
have
to
as
us.
part of that program would
Sorry,
be
she got an.
what kind of small businesses do you see in these other communities that you're doing these programs that we don't have? And then what kind of support would the community have? You know, if there's a certain kind of business that you see in other cities that are doing well, like I'm a business owner and I'm willing to maybe start another business, but I don't know what kind of business that would actually get support in these small towns like this. Because like we go on vacation, my wife and I will go to these small towns and we'll see little diners and little things that are working well for those communities. So we're always talking about what kind of little business, little boutique or whatever we could open. And I don't know if that would, if we could get like some support on what people want. I don't know if I'm coming across clear.
Well, yeah. So there's. I think I understand what you're saying, and
Aaron.
so there's the MEDC. I'll go back to your question in a second, Gail. There's the MEDC, which is direct. I think Paul has a direct relationship with the MEDC Community Action Team, which would be the business service support center that would provide business development for Laingsburg. So the FIT program itself is meant to highlight the businesses in your community, not just restaurants, but the businesses in any community that would stand out as an attraction to an outside visitor. So you may not have had in Laingsburg, I can't remember exactly, but you know, everything's not about the downtown. And when we do these assessments, certainly we visit the downtown businesses, but in and around the peripheral, that's why when we build the community leadership team, it's very important to have people from the city, people from the DDA, the school districts, the chambers of commerce, local business owners like yourself, all involved. It's really rare for everybody to be on the community leadership team, be from representing one organization like the DDA. This is a very sort of an outlier situation, but still sounds like it's made up of business owners and the DDA and the chamber and business support services. So the results are meant to give ideas like you're talking about. I think it was Richard that asked, like, I think one of our suggestions was consider like a boutique hotel because there's nowhere to stay downtown. But again, it's a chicken and the egg thing, right? Are you getting enough visitors to stay in your downtown? I think one of our other suggestions was that the location of Laingsburg, from my perspective, having lived in Vermont, really reminds me of the northeast part of the country. Coming in from I-127, going east into Laingsburg, and then coming north off of 69. That is some pretty dynamic scenery there. So what sort of business can go with that? Well, I think we could probably give suggestions, but the purpose of the program is to uncover the potential of the assets in and around the community so people then get those ideas of what businesses could be created.
Is there a way?
You follow
Andy,
what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know who I'm talking to, but maybe Mike.
Andy,
Yeah.
is there a way that those things that you are saying, let's say you're making a point to say these things about your community, like the people that come in and assess our community, these things are the things that we thought were cool and were good, and these things are things that we thought were maybe not so good or whatever. Is there a way to interconnect those so that maybe there's 5 other communities out there that you did assessments on,
yeah,
and found something that was good in one of those other communities, but it isn't in one of the other 4 communities, meaning a boutique that was working quite well in that community 60 miles away, but the community down here, meaning Laingsburg, didn't have that. Is there a way that you could, right, trying to make the point that things that work in other communities may work in, say, this community, if they're tried, if you knew what that was. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we've been doing I see what you're saying. So we've been doing the program 3 years. So we are, after this meeting, we're compiling a 3-year summary report of successes, right? And it's going to summarize what every community has done with the FIT program since 2017. So you're the last community that I'm interviewing and capturing, and then that will be shared. One of the goals we had this year for 2020 was to do a FIT summit, and that got postponed. And the summit was going to be, and probably will be done in 2021. A summit will be of all the participating FIT communities that want to participate in this, convene in one location, which is hard to do because we've done some of these in the UP. Some have been done in Lower Peninsula, Northwest Michigan. 8 of them have been done in the Thumb region. So logically, I'm going to try and bring all 8 communities together. And we share what each community has done since doing the FIT program, lessons learned, failures, successes, and things can be discussed along with some professional development. And of course, the pandemic hit. But, and I don't know if that would give you what you're actually looking for or not. It probably would, because it would allow you to see what some of the other successes have been.
Even the failures are good too.
Oh yeah. Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
I'm lumping them all in. I see failures as successes. Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think you do that in the FIT assessment, though. You tell us what's working.
Sure.
So I guess the FIT summit would kind of answer some of these things these guys are talking about. So if you had a compilation of what is working in communities. I mean, we talked about how, we're not necessarily, you're not going to be able to put in something that, we're going to talk about like our kayaking and canoeing success, because we don't have that right handily, but it is something we could work on, but there's towns that are on the water that, they attract different people than small towns like ours that are, 10 miles off a highway. So there's different things that work for different types of communities. So
yeah, it's all about what the assets are, right? Like what the city of St. Clair is doing in St. Clair County, where you came, Paula.
Right.
It's totally different because they have a huge river and they have international visitors and they have rivers. But for your community, you have a huge college campus within 20 miles or 10 miles.
Right.
That no other community to this date has.
Right.
So you're well positioned, and maybe that wasn't stressed at the forum, but I think one of our assessors was an undergrad student, and she was quite thorough in her analysis of Laingsburg, and she came from campus, and her suggestions were purely to attract that student body into your community.
Well, we have partnered with MSU on a couple of projects, and they are actually the ones that we hired them to help design our amphitheater. So we did a whole year, well, maybe not a year, but one of their class quarters or sessions, what do you call it? So they took their term or their semester and they worked on our park, and they interviewed, we did some public events and they came and talked to people, and so we have been able to use that for that, and that's probably something that we should continue to focus on. And that gets those kids out here and they have a buy-in to our community, and then they go back to campus and talk about it. So, one of
the successes that we've seen as part of this conversation, the bigger successes, is that a lot of communities, as I said, this is a unique situation where most of your community leadership team is the DDA. We've not seen that in any other community. Every other community is comprised of at least 5 different organizations and a couple business owners, and usually around 6-7 people or so, give or take 1 or 2. And the successes, if you want something in a nutshell, the first thing that 99% of the communities come back and say is the best thing that's come of this is that we're all working together now. So that's probably not something your community in particular certainly can be proud of, but it's not something that you can claim the FIT program did for you because you're one organization, right? You're the DDA. Whereas the city of St. Clair, I had a 1-year follow-up with them last month, and their city manager, their chamber, their historical commission, their parks director, their I don't know, the school district, the art association, like, so there were 6 or 7 organizations that had never worked together before, ever. I mean, not in that generation anyway, right? And they said that's the one thing that's come of this is that all of those organizations now, and I think I'm answering maybe Richard's question here, or certainly I hope so, is all of those organizations now are meeting regularly as part of their community leadership team once a month, and they have been for a year, and they're just applying for arts and culture grants. They're applying for small business development loans. They're applying for grants to update their websites like you guys did. And so each person has taken a piece of those results, and collectively as a community, they're working together. That's why I asked if you had a chamber or but I would, so I hope I'm making sense. I'm glad we're having this discussion now. One of the things, you know, you have a Shiawassee Convention Visitors Bureau.
Right, that's where we put that one advertisement. that we
Yeah,
talked
you know,
about.
I invited them to the forum a year ago. I never heard anything back from them. I don't even think they were in the room. And that's a loss on their part, right? Because your community has a ton of potential, like every community, but given the close proximity to Lansing and the amount of like public space and you know, scenic drives, and perhaps, you know, we thought, I think some of us said that, you know, you could develop a yoga retreat. Richard, if you're looking for like eclectic businesses or something, that was one of our suggestions, was like, this place could be a yoga retreat center because you're tucked away in these trees, hidden.
We are having Tai Chi in the park now.
There you go. So I think we've done our job. I'm not trying to be defensive, but I think we've done our job, and we've given a plethora of suggestions. It's just a matter sometimes of rereading these reports and reading between the lines. But we have heard from other communities, like, you know, similar questions, kind of like, well, I can't think of the exact question, but kind of along the lines of what Richard asked. And you know, if I had sort of a silver bullet for every time for that, I wouldn't be doing what I do. I'd be setting up businesses in all these little communities, right? Because I'm seeing potential all over the place. But it's not up to us to, it's up to us to sort of unravel that and rip the Band-Aid off. But
Well, I will tell you that when you mentioned the MEDC and the business development team,
yeah,
I
that's
did
your
work
resource.
with them, and we had Giffels, and they just did a market study for us. So that is available to this team as well to look at. So I think some of what they're asking for, we have.
Yeah.
And of course, from tonight, I'll know that, you know, to give them that if they want it. But a lot of times I have things and I tell them and they don't listen to me. So.
Yeah, but
I was just looking at the, you know, person next to me going, I'm pretty sure
I do want to emphasize though, like I do.
No, but I'm just telling you,
I think
from
part of
your
that program,
question,
that would be something that would
right,
be
from your question, we do have a market study, though. That's what I'm saying is that I have that information that you're seeking.
So
So
I do want to emphasize though, like the outdoor seating is so huge for your community, because like somebody asked earlier, what kind of businesses could survive here? Well, now that you've got people in your street, a lot can happen, because when we got there was nobody in the street. I mean, I'm just being straightforward with you. Like, it was really shocking.
no, I think we all see that for sure.
Right. So going back to what businesses could survive, well, geez, I mean, now that you have an opportunity for people to be out in the street and being able to see up and down the sidewalks and the historical significance of Laingsburg, maybe take the time to survey those people. That's a suggestion that we've given a lot of communities. Take the data that we've given you and pull out your own questions and go up to people when there's no pandemic or wearing your masks or whatever we have to do and survey people. Work with your local restaurants to survey those people and find out what more could Laingsburg do. So this is about building capacity, and this program is about building communities to address those issues on their own versus sort of us, giving you the silver bullet as if we had it, which certainly nobody does. But, as an active community that sees the potential of growing your community, and there's a ton of potential given your close proximity to Lansing and East Lansing and Okemos and all that, that might be a strategy, is take 10 questions or take a piece to that bigger puzzle. Let's just say it's the downtown development piece of that report. And as a team, dissect that report one evening and say, what more do we want to know about this? And call me up and we could craft questions together, and you as an organization could survey your visitors next summer when they're out on the street eating at their patio and using QR codes. Like, kudos to you, Paul, and your team for going back 10 years and digging up QR codes, because 10 years ago, those things were pretty much dead, but now they're coming back, right? We just had this discussion the other day with the city of St. Clair. Like 8-9 years ago, people were done with QR codes, but they've had a resurgence, especially because of this pandemic. People are only going to find, they're going to do all their research through their phones. So build more QR codes, stick them in your parks, stick them on your menus, stick them on the sidewalk, and in summertime, get people to take a survey through their phone, and you will get so many answers to what you're looking for. I'd be happy to help with that. I mean, I'm not going to come out and set them up in your streets, but I could filter your questions. If you cherry picked over the wintertime, what do we want to know? What more? Okay, we had 5 first-time visitors come in and they saw the recreation, they saw the river, they saw our tree farm and whatever, I forget else we saw. But let's build on that. Let's find out if more people would find that interesting, or if Richard has an idea to, launch a biking company or something. Ask people, would you come here and ride your bike here? These are just examples, but so like now that you've got, a way to capture people and you got live music on Wednesday nights, set up a QR code in that park while people are playing music and say, take our QR code and give us a survey or I don't know. But so I would say one more thing, and then I want to go back to Gail's question a few minutes ago. But that 10-page or 12-page report we gave you, keep revisiting that. And if you haven't already, get the raw data from Paula and read that raw data on a Sunday afternoon in the middle of a snowstorm when you can't go anywhere. The raw data is pretty much what we used to populate the PowerPoint that night where you all were in the audience. There's a lot of good stuff in between the lines there if you're really looking for new ideas. You got 80 pages of visitor perspectives from 5 people. So there's a lot there. But so Gail, you had said, I want to go back.
Can I kind of clarify my
yeah, sure.
okay. So I thought what you were looking for, because I want to say, I think the program was great. I mean, as far as I saw stuff potential in there, especially, I guess I'd never realized how many people had went to the state parks and happened to, having those people so close. There were so many things in there that I thought was very helpful. But I think you're looking for us to stop being the user necessarily of your material, but tell you how we would have used your services quicker or easier or whatever, and why we, some people might not even attempt to use it. And that's why I said I thought maybe the first approach that we had didn't correlate to really what we ended up getting, I guess. Yeah, it sounded interesting.
I don't follow what you mean. Sorry, you're my service. I don't understand what you mean.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm saying the whole coming out having people come to your city, witness your city, the data that you're going to get, and that sort of thing. I think at first I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to work out. And I was saying that, your video thing is probably a good approach, but I was thinking an email too, that was a little bit more maybe showing how you've helped other cities with the fit assessment.
Gil, were you on the kickoff meeting? Were you on the community leadership team first meeting we had on the web? It would have been, Paula, you would probably be the one to answer this, but
I was on the DDA, so
every time we do the program, a community applies.
No,
That application.
what you did. I'm saying when Paula first found out about it and brought it to the DDA was what I was referring to.
Okay. Right.
The email that she got and shared with us.
Okay. Well, okay. Yeah. So there's a website, and there always has been, and then there's a brochure, and then there's an application. And so there is more than just an email. The application is very thorough, and typically 9 times out of 10, it's written by an entire group and not just one person. And so the group, when they write the application, they're writing it as a group. That's easier said than done, right? That doesn't always, it's not always super easy to do, and so it is very much from the beginning designed to be a collective effort when a community comes after the program. But when we start the program, we do a kickoff meeting, and I can't remember, Paula, we must have did that in late 2018. And there was probably 8 or 9 people on that call, and that is when we walk through the entire program. I won't do the program in a community unless the community leadership team is on that call. We don't come and do it in person. We do it on the web, even if there's no pandemic. And that is where we walk through the whole program, the process, what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. And here's, I think just last year, we just started showing the results of what some communities end up doing. I don't know if Laingsburg would have got that or not. So I wonder if you were on that call or not, but still there's always, Paula, would you agree with that? Did the information, the application and the brochure, was that not clear? I'm just trying to figure out what we can do better, not start up some sort of.
Right. And I think what Gail and I are both saying is that even after the kickoff and the brochure, that we still didn't have a good vision of what this meant or what, I mean, that's how, I really didn't. I just kind of felt like, I knew what I wanted to get out of it. I knew that, that 5 people were going to come in or more and, just give us like an idea of what was going on in our town. But I didn't really understand what our role was going to be and how that was all going to work out. Do you know what I mean? I didn't understand that. And like you've made a couple of comments that normally it's not the DDA. Well, I never got that, that the vibe that the people I had in place weren't the right people. But for me, I still think it was, because it is a group of people that, Gail's no longer on the DDA, but she's on the city council. She's in the LPCA. She owns a business, and so, Rosemary has a business downtown, but she lives, out at one of our lakes. And so,
so your group is comprised of pretty much what the other community leadership teams are. I thought this was a DDA meeting. Sorry. I don't know what I signed on to tonight.
No, it is a DDA meeting, but I also invited Gail back because she's no longer on the DDA.
Oh, okay.
But the rest of these people were pretty much part of our community leadership team in the first place.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, my point is that, that's the only thing that I could say for me is, I think everything that we did and in the long run, how everything turned out is great. But in the beginning, I felt a little bit overwhelmed and confused about how this was actually going to all play out.
Play out, you mean after you got the results, you mean?
No, like getting to that point, like,
Oh,
so like
wow.
what my night was supposed to look like that night for the fit, when we had the dinner and the assessment and everything. And
Mm.
then, once we got the results, what we would do with them and how we would move forward. I guess, I mean, it's always simpler than I had set in my mind, probably.
Mm.
And I think she felt a lot more comfort when she went and saw one. Then I think it kind of cleared up how things were going to go and what kind of information that we were going to get and how, I mean, obviously it wasn't our information, it was in other cities, but
Hmm.
I mean, she's articulating what I was trying to say.
Sure.
Overall, though, I mean, I don't have any, I think it was a wonderful experience.
Mm.
I think it did a lot of good,
Yeah,
opened a lot of
some
talking and stuff.
some
So,
communities are always like, well, you should have more people on your team. That's usually what we hear the first thing. And come in with 10 people next time or 7. And yeah, we could.
I think all of that worked out great. I mean, the team was great. Everything the information we got was great and all of that. But in the beginning, I mean, for me, it was just a little bit hard for me to try to explain to everybody, even though you guys had it all laid out, what was laid out, just, they still sometimes would look at me like, what are we trying to do here? What do you mean?
Yeah. Okay,
And
so we should do a better job of explaining in more detail. I like to think we provide ample time and for questions, but even then, like until you go through something the first time, like with anything, it's like once you learn to ride a bike, you can ride a bike. But trying to learn to ride a bike, you know what I mean. So yeah, we try to I shouldn't say hold hands, but walk communities through that process. There is a bit of a lag, once we do the kickoff meeting in February, we typically don't show up in a community in June, but we do announce, the time frame that we're coming and then we start working through setting up those dates. But just like anything, it's a process. So we'll what else can we learn from that? From that experience, you guys probably had the most vibrant community forum. I mean, you certainly had the most food. That couldn't have been the first time you put on a public event, because if it is, you've aced it.
actually, it was.
Oh, really? Wow, yeah.
Like that. I mean, I don't think we've ever done anything that size.
We can put on a public event, but usually everybody's all pissed off. And then they all show up and they ain't there for the food.
Usually only get that many people when we make somebody mad.
Well,
I think it does speak to our community, and all the food was local, I believe, if I remember correctly.
It was.
And so I think it speaks to our community and how they rally together for improvements.
Rosemary, were you new on the DDA then, or were you not on the DDA?
I was not on the DDA yet.
Did you go to the event?
I did.
Okay.
Just as a business owner.
Yep. So.
And I keep hearing that we don't have any place to stay downtown. And so I think I need something.
Yep, see? Because she has a little place for people to stay at in town, downtown.
You do? Where was it there when we were there?
Yes.
Where is it?
Right downtown.
Called
Rosevilla Retreat.
I mean, next to the post office, next to the bar, upstairs, downstairs.
Next to the carpet store.
The carpet store.
Across the road from the bar.
Is it marketed as a place to stay to the outside visitor, or
It is. That's the only thing that it is.
But it's not
well,
like
again, the results are maybe I misspoke earlier though. I think someone made a comment about either getting a place to stay downtown or there was a place to stay. You'd have to go back and look at our notes. I mean,
it said that there wasn't a place.
Yeah, somebody said they went back to Lansing or whatever, but there was closer places than that still, but that must have been the choice of where they wanted to go. That's all. Because there's places closer than Lansing to stay.
Where at?
Well, DeWitt's got 2 hotels. Perry's got 1. That's 7 miles away. I mean, I don't know as everybody looked at everything. That one down there says Rosevilla right on the front of it, and you can't miss it. I mean, it's a beautiful building.
Although if they were looking for a hotel, then they wouldn't necessarily
Right.
find me. But I heard it at the event and then again today, and I'm like, okay, I need to maybe do something.
Yeah, so one person, three people camped because they couldn't find a place to stay. Well, I shouldn't say it was like, oh gosh, we can't do anything. We got to spend the night in the tent. Some people chose to do that, and we advocate for diverse. I'm the one person that did go to Okemos and stayed in a hotel, and 2 or 3 other people camped, and one person lives in Okemos, and he or she drove into the community and stayed for the full day. Yeah, no, I didn't come across any advertising for Rosavilla, but now that you have that new website that Paula showed, I'm hoping your hotel is advertised on there, right, for visitors, right? It is. Is there a website?
Yeah, my retreat is on there.
Okay, so you call it a retreat. I'm genuinely interested in what you have, because Richard asked earlier what sort of eclectic, for lack of a better term, businesses could they explore, and it sounds like you've got one already downtown. You call it a retreat. Can you tell me more about it?
It's a craft retreat. Folks rent the retreat for the weekend and work on their crafts. Usually ladies.
So that's a pretty unique business that works in Laingsburg that I've not seen in any other community. And somebody 30 minutes ago asked me, what businesses might work in other communities that would work in yours, and of course that depends on the resources and natural resources and other things. But it sounds like you've got a pretty unique business that works there quite well. How long have you had that? Has it been there quite a long time, Rosemary?
Yeah, I'm going on 9 years.
Wow.
Paula's sharing the pictures now.
Oh yeah, there it is. That's my place.
Wow. So you've had it for 9 years. So right there is an example of what we're talking about, of something that exists that we see bed and breakfasts in other communities that are more of a tourism town. But this clearly is drawing in people, right, Rosemary?
It is. Yep. Despite COVID, still almost every weekend right now. We were shut down for a while, but right now, almost every weekend, there are people booked.
Look at that. Yeah. So that's all I have. This has been a good discussion. I just learned more about Laingsburg, and I hope you learned more about the program. Looks like you have a good handful or more of businesses that not only work for your community, but that could be modeled in other communities. I've only seen one other community with kind of a retreat like that, and that is in the city of St. Clair. Unless you call that a bed and breakfast that you have, Rosemary, but
I do not call it a bed
yeah.
and breakfast. There's no breakfast.
Okay. So that's great. Good discussion. And good outcomes. Impressive. Looks like the website is doing what it should be doing and advertising more of the businesses that are in town and linking up to their social media or their own website. And that's important. And any other thoughts? I did have one more question. If nobody wants to throw anything at me real quick. One of the ideas that we had for your community was a garage door days. And Richard and others asked earlier what sort of eclectic businesses or maybe festivals, we could expand that to festivals, could your community do? And that is the one thing that I came up with. Again, I thought that to be a silver bullet. I thought, here's a community that's got all these garage doors and they're all closed and they're all facing the downtown. That's walkable. Anybody thinking about doing something with those garage doors? You got it all. I mean, you guys have way more. I'm sorry if you didn't get that from our results. I'm kind of embarrassed a little bit that you didn't get what I thought you would from the program. You got a lot, but it sounds like maybe I could have done a better job sort of emphasizing, but that's why I'm here tonight. Garage door days. No, nobody's stuck with it. Nobody sees potential for it.
Part of your thing is you talk about garage doors, but there may be other plans with the city about garage
Sure.
doors. So
Yeah, I understand.
that might be why there isn't a lot of conversation or talk about it.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to see any garage doors there.
Yeah, or what's behind them or something.
Right.
Right.
So,
I understand it. Yeah.
But it stuck with you. I mean, there's several garage doors. Matter of fact, this is Mike, the mayor, got asked the question here about 2 weeks ago. Why can't I paint a mural on the side of my building?
Right there.
I goes, well, why can't you? Do you know how to paint? And they said, well, what's the city got to say about it? I says, is it your building? I says, if it's decent, I don't know if there's any problem with it. I says, heck, you go to Florida at Lake Placid, every store on it has a mural painted on it, and it's beautiful. It's a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
So there are people thinking from that fit assessment and other people commenting. So I don't think that it was a failure in any sort of way in this city. I think it was all plus.
Good.
And I think everyone pretty much feels that way. I may be speaking out of turn. I don't know. I do believe that I think I understand what Paula and Gail are saying about the very start of it, because Paula came to me and said, hey, I'd like to do this. And well, what is it? It tells us what we can do in our city. Okay, well, I'm game for that. But I think what they're really saying is when they decide they want to be game, they kind of wanted to see a little bit more what they could expect to draw out of it and the expectations when you come to the city beyond that. I think that's what they were trying to explain, that they just kind of felt like they'd been dealt a stacked deck when they went in for it, because they didn't know what they were to expect, and they just found out what they liked afterwards, and they said, oh yeah, this is good. And it may help in other cities, but I may misinterpreted what they're saying. But it just seems like the introduction of the program left it like you got an elephant gift and you're afraid to open it first because you didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, right.
Now, your movie may help a lot of people with the communication and stuff as a presentation to the FIT program of what it's done for these cities and things that's been recognized and we brought forth to them and some of the things they've captured. But that's just my thought.
Sure. Others? Last minute thoughts? All right. So, Paula, you have access to $2,000 if you haven't tapped into it already. That's through the Prosperity Region 6. You know, you've probably already been in contact with Jacob. So, the Prosperity Region was giving $2,000 to communities to then do implementation. Did you access that? Were you able to get it?
Yes, we spent it. I had it up on the screen, that history sign.
Okay, great. Good. Okay, that's all I have, everybody. So, unless there's any last minute questions, I wish everybody the best these next few months, and I'll make a point to drive through and stop off in Laingsburg this summer and see your downtown.
Thank you for the time that you spent on our city. It was very nice of you.
Yeah, we had a good time. We never know what to expect either when we go into these communities.
Yeah, I bet you don't.
We don't. Everyone's different. Everybody's in a totally different stage of development or regression, progression, whatever it is. So yeah, it's pretty fascinating what we see. So I'll circle back with you, Paula, and your team probably in early 2021. We're going to try and do a FIT summit, but it'll have to be remote, and we're all kind of tapped out on this Zoom stuff, I think, but might be our only choice up until June of 2021. But if we decide to do something in person, we'll probably shoot for October of 2021, and that'll be a session where your community voluntarily can share what you've done and gotten from the program, or successes and failures. And we'll hope to hear from at least 4 or 5 other communities: Cass City, East Jordan.
That sounds really good. I like it.
Yeah. It's the pandemic squashed it this year, but so, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Good luck. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Andy.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
We adjourned.
Does anyone have anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourning. See you next month.
Good.